There comes a moment when you must rise up from where you are and step into the day with confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because you know who walks with you. Empowerment begins when you realize that you are not helpless, forgotten, or overlooked. You have been equipped with faith, strength, and purpose, even if you do not fully recognize it yet. God never sends you into a day unprepared. He places courage in your spirit, clarity in your mind, and resilience in your heart to face whatever comes your way. Encouragement is more than kind words. It is fuel for the soul. When you remind yourself of God's promises, you ignite hope where fear once lived. Every time you choose to stand instead of surrender, to believe instead of doubt, you reclaim authority over your circumstances. Empowerment does not mean the absence of struggle. It means refusing to let struggle define your identity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your past. You are not the limitations others placed on you. You are defined by the purpose God placed within you. Walking in confidence does not require knowing every step ahead. It requires trusting the one who orders your steps. Fear often tries to paralyze you by focusing your attention on what could go wrong, but faith empowers you by reminding you of what can go right. When you step forward with trust, you activate strength you did not know you had. The act of moving forward, even while uncertain, releases momentum that changes your perspective and your posture. Encouragement also reminds you that you are not alone. Even when the journey feels isolating, God's presence surrounds you. He lifts you when you feel weak and steadies you when you feel overwhelmed. This awareness brings peace in the middle of pressure. It allows you to face challenges without being consumed by them. You begin to understand that opposition is not a sign of failure, but often a confirmation that you are moving in the right direction. Empowerment reshapes how you see yourself. Instead of seeing lack, you see potential. Instead of seeing fear, you recognize growth. Instead of seeing defeat, you expect victory. This shift does not happen overnight, but it begins with a decision to believe that you were created for more than survival. You were created to rise, to endure, and to overcome. Encouragement strengthens this belief until it becomes a foundation you stand on daily. When you embrace empowerment, your actions change. You speak with confidence, move with intention, and face each day with purpose. You stop shrinking back and start stepping forward. You allow faith to lead rather than fear to control. And in that posture of confidence and encouragement, you begin to telescope. You begin to experience life not as a series of obstacles, but as opportunities where God's strength is revealed through you. What you expect has a way of shaping what you experience. When you wake up in the morning, before your feet even touch the floor, your heart is already declaring something. Some wake up expecting struggle, disappointment, or bad news, and without realizing it, they speak those expectations into their day. But there is power in expectation, and there is authority in declaration. When you expect God to move, you prepare your spirit to receive what He is already willing to release. Faith-filled expectation is not wishful thinking. It is confidence rooted in trust that God is able and willing to act on your behalf. Your words matter more than you realize. Life and death are carried in the power of the tongue. And what you speak consistently will eventually shape what you see. When you declare peace, you invite calm into chaos. When you declare provision, you align yourself with abundance rather than lack. Even when your situation does not reflect what you are declaring, your words become seeds planted in faith. You may not see immediate results, but every declaration spoken in faith is working beneath the surface, preparing the ground for manifestation. Expectation shifts your posture. Instead of walking through the day defeated and discouraged, you begin to walk with anticipation. You start looking for God in the small moments, in unexpected conversations, and in doors that appear ordinary but carry divine opportunity. When you expect blessings, you recognize them more easily. When you expect favor, you notice it even in subtle forms. Expectation opens your eyes to what God is already doing rather than what you fear He is not doing. Declaring faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing truth over fear. It means acknowledging the challenge, but refusing to let it define the outcome. You can say, "This is hard," and still declare, "I will overcome." You can admit uncertainty while proclaiming confidence in God's ability. Faith-filled declarations do not deny the storm. They speak authority over it. They remind your soul who is in control when emotions try to take over. When you speak with expectation, you also strengthen your own spirit. Every declaration becomes a reminder of God's promises. Every spoken word of faith pushes back doubt and replaces it with hope. Over time, your mindset begins to shift. You stop reacting to life and start responding with confidence. You stop being led by fear and begin walking in assurance. This is how faith grows, not just in prayer, but in daily confession and belief. So as you move through your day, let your mouth align with your faith. Speak blessing over your work, your family, your mind, and your future. Declare that you are protected, provided for, and guided. Expect God to show up in ways you did not plan but desperately need. When expectation and declaration work together, they create an atmosphere where faith thrives and miracles are welcomed. Many people are waiting for God to move in dramatic ways, believing that miracles only come through extraordinary signs and sudden breakthroughs. But often, the most powerful moves of God take place quietly in the middle of ordinary moments. We look for lightning, but God shows up in the stillness. We look for a grand announcement, but He works through small opportunities, daily routines, and simple acts of obedience. Miracles do not always interrupt life. Sometimes they are woven into it so seamlessly that we almost miss them if we are not paying attention. God has a way of using what seems ordinary to accomplish what is extraordinary. A regular day can become a turning point. A simple conversation can open a door. A small decision can shift the direction of your future. What you consider insignificant may be the very place where divine favor is hiding. When you remain faithful in ordinary moments, you position yourself to experience extraordinary outcomes. God often tests our faith in the small things before He entrusts us with greater things. Sometimes we underestimate the power of consistency, showing up every day, doing what is right even when it feels unnoticed, trusting God when nothing appears to be changing. This is where transformation begins. Breakthrough does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it grows silently like a seed beneath the soil. Just because you do not see immediate results does not mean nothing is happening. Beneath the surface, God is working, aligning people, timing, and circumstances in ways you cannot yet see. Extraordinary results often come from ordinary faithfulness. When you continue to pray, continue to believe, and continue to walk forward despite uncertainty, God multiplies your effort. He takes what seems small and breathes purpose into it. What you thought was just another day becomes the day provision shows up. What you thought was just another attempt becomes the moment everything changes. God does not need dramatic circumstances to work miracles. He needs a willing heart and a faithful spirit. Many blessings come disguised as routine. A job that feels ordinary may be the source of future abundance. A challenge that seems repetitive may be building strength for a greater assignment. Even moments of waiting serve a purpose, sharpening your discernment and deepening your trust. When you begin to see the ordinary through the lens of faith, you recognize God's hand at work everywhere. Nothing is wasted and no moment is meaningless. When God turns ordinary moments into extraordinary outcomes, it becomes a testimony that strengthens your faith. You realize that He was present all along, guiding, protecting, and providing in ways you did not fully recognize at the time. This awareness changes how you live. You stop overlooking the present while waiting for the future. You become grateful for the now, knowing that God often reveals His greatest blessings right where you are. Faith is not a one-time event. Faith is a journey, a daily choice to believe in what you cannot yet see. It is easy to have faith when everything is going well, when the sun is shining and the road is smooth. But real faith is tested in the storms, in the moments when your back is against the wall and every possibility seems exhausted. This is the time when persistence in faith becomes your greatest weapon. Persistence means continuing to trust, to hope, and to believe even when the circumstances say otherwise. It means not giving up, not turning away, and not allowing fear or doubt to take root in your heart. There will be days when it feels like your prayers are bouncing off the ceiling, when every effort seems futile and every door seems closed. But persistence in faith is what keeps you aligned with God's plan. It is what keeps the seed of hope alive. Even in the driest soil, God honors those who do not quit. He rewards those who refuse to give up. Your breakthrough is not measured by the obstacles you face, but by your determination to continue trusting in Him despite those obstacles. Persistence requires courage. It requires a decision to stand firm in belief, even when the world is shaking around you. It requires knowing that God is still working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. Every prayer you pray, every word of faith you speak, every act of obedience you perform is building a foundation for your provision, for your miracle, and for your breakthrough. When you persist, you are not just surviving, you are preparing to thrive. Sometimes persistence in faith is quiet. It is the daily act of choosing to trust even when you feel tired, disappointed, or overwhelmed. It is the refusal to let circumstances dictate your belief. It is holding on to hope when everything in you wants to let go. And God sees it. He notices the heart that refuses to surrender, the soul that continues to rise even after falling. And in due season, he will bring the reward for your endurance. Persistence also teaches you something invaluable. It teaches patience, humility, and resilience. It teaches you that you are not defined by temporary setbacks, but by your unwavering commitment to keep moving forward. It teaches you that faith is not passive waiting, it is active perseverance. You may not understand how the pieces will fit together, but your persistence keeps you in position for the blessings that are coming. So today, do not give up. Keep pressing, keep believing, keep trusting, keep moving forward, even when the way is unclear. Your persistent faith is the key that unlocks doors that seem impossible, the anchor that holds you steady in the storm, and the bridge that connects your present struggle to your future triumph. What you persist in believing today is what you will see manifested tomorrow. Never underestimate the power of persistent faith, because God is faithful to respond to the heart that refuses to quit. It is easy to look at your life and wonder why things haven't happened yet. You have prayed, you have hoped, you have given your best, yet the results seem delayed. But I want you to understand something today. God's timing is not your timing, and that is a good thing. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually a preparation. Sometimes what seems like waiting is actually God lining things up in a way that will bring the greatest blessing at the perfect moment. You see, when we rush, we often miss the fullness of what God intends. When we trust his timing, we position ourselves to receive more than we could have imagined. Think about it. If everything came exactly when you wanted it, without preparation, without refinement, would you be ready to handle it? Sometimes God allows seasons of waiting because he is shaping your character, testing your faith, and strengthening your heart for the blessing that is coming. Patience is not passive, it is active faith. It is holding on to the promise even when the circumstances say otherwise. It is believing in what you cannot yet see. Delays are not denials. Just because it hasn't happened yet does not mean it will never happen. God works behind the scenes, moving people, orchestrating circumstances, and creating opportunities that you might never have imagined. What looks like waiting is actually divine positioning. He is preparing the perfect time, the perfect moment, and the perfect provision that aligns with his plan for your life. And when it comes, it will be unmistakable. Many of us struggle with impatience because we measure our lives by the clock, by what we see in the present moment. But God measures by eternity. His perspective is higher, broader, and deeper than ours. What seems late to you is on time to him. What seems too long is actually the exact time needed to prepare you for a blessing that will exceed your expectations. Every season, every delay, every trial has a purpose. Even the waiting teaches lessons of perseverance, trust, and hope. So do not be discouraged when the answer does not come immediately. Do not give up on your prayers. Do not give up on your dreams. And do not lose faith in your future. God's timing is perfect, and it is working for your good. Sometimes when you think it is taking too long, it is only because he is doing more than you can see. The seed you planted is growing roots in ways you cannot yet observe. The door that has been slow to open is being prepared to swing wide in your favor. Remember this, the right thing at the right time is far better than the right thing at the wrong time. Trust the process, embrace the waiting, and hold on to the promise. When it comes, it will be so much more than you could have orchestrated yourself. Your patience, your faith, and your endurance will be rewarded. Divine timing is always perfect, and what God has for you is worth every second of the wait. Sometimes we find ourselves looking around at our lives and wondering, how is this going to work out? How am I going to get through this? The bills are stacking up, the pressures are mounting, and the weight of responsibility feels like it might crush you. But here's the truth you must hold on to today. The God who has never failed you before is not going to start failing you now. He sees every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of worry, and every prayer whispered in the quiet of your heart. He knows the desires you carry and the burdens that seem too heavy to bear. And in His perfect timing, He will provide. Provision is not always about what we expect. Sometimes it's bigger than what we think is possible. Sometimes it comes from directions we never imagined. God's ways are higher than our ways, and His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. That means when He steps in, it is not just a simple answer. It is an overflow, a blessing that surpasses what you could have planned or earned on your own. And here is the encouragement. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to manufacture the provision yourself. Your job is to trust, to believe, and to keep walking faithfully. There are moments when it feels like nothing is moving, when every door seems closed and every option seems exhausted, but faith looks beyond what is seen. Faith sees the unseen, hears the unheard, and believes the unbelievable. When you hold on to God's promise, when you trust in His faithfulness, you position yourself to receive what only He can provide. He knows exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. Sometimes provision comes in ways that are subtle, a timely phone call, a word of encouragement, a sudden opportunity. Other times it comes in ways that are unmistakably miraculous, a blessing so clear that you cannot deny it is from above. You may feel small, inadequate, or unprepared. You may think your efforts are too little or your situation too dire. But God specializes in taking what is insufficient and making it more than enough. He specializes in transforming scarcity into abundance and struggle into testimony. No matter what your circumstances look like today, the same God who brought you through past challenges is still at work. Your needs are known, your prayers are heard, and your provision is already on its way. The key is to keep your eyes on Him, to stay expectant and to trust that His provision is coming exactly as it should. Watch closely today, because God is faithful. He will provide for you in ways that align with His perfect plan. And when it comes, you will see that His timing, His wisdom, and His love were at work the entire time. Your breakthrough is not a matter of chance. It is a matter of faith in a God who never fails,